So students, since few classes we are learning software engineering. So in software engineering we learn development testing. Then here we came to know about unit testing, component testing, system testing. Already I gave you the explanation. Some of the notes also already I sent you through WhatsApp. Then we came to know in last class, I think so, we came to know about test driven development. I gave you the explanation of this diagram as well. Fine. So here we came to know after a software get developed, how can we test it? How can we include new functionality to a software? So after installing or after introducing new functionality to the software, we can go for the test of that functionality. We need not to go for the test for entire software. We have to only concentrate on the part which we included newly. Okay. So thereafter we have to run the test. Then if it is okay, then we can go with the new functionality, students. We can add new functionality to the software. If it fails here, then we have to implement the functionality. It means we have to go with the debugging process. Fine. And we have to check the problems from the functionality. Check the problems from the functionality, the new functionality which we just added. Fine. So until unless all the errors, all the bug get clear, the process will continue like this. Once the error get rectified, the bug get get debugged, get rectified, then the process will continue with a new functionality. So there are some softwares in market. They are testing softwares. So those softwares help we can take to test our program automatically. Our program can be automatically tested as well as we came to know manually also we can test whether our program is working properly or not, whether our software is working properly or not. So all these points also we discussed. These points are nothing but belonging to this particular diagram. So let's continue with next. In this case also the theory already we discussed regarding the TDD, that is test driven development. For this only the theory is given here. Already we discussed this part. So today we are going to discuss release testing. Fine. So release testing is the process of testing a particular release. Particular release in the sense any particular version, any new version you are adding to a software, any new version you are adding to a software, to your existing software will be tested in this case. So that's why the name of this testing is release testing. Once you added some new component to a software, you have to go for the testing for it. Fine. So particular release of of a system that is intended for use outside of the development team. Normally the system release is for customers and users. Normally the system release is for customers and users. In complex project, however, release could be for other teams that are developing related systems. It means in a small program, in a small software, the group of person who are developing the software, they only can go for testing. But in a huge software, in a huge project, complex project, some group of other peoples, they can go for release testing. Okay. So for software product, the release could be for product management who then prepare for it sell. Sorry. There are two important distinctions between release testing and system testing. So those points are given here. All of you please check. The system development team should not be responsible for release testing. The system development means the software get developed by a group of people. So they are not responsible in this case for release testing. So who will do those release testing? Now release testing is a process of validation checking to ensure that a system meets its requirement and is good enough for use by system customers. System testing by development team should focus on discovering bugs in the system. So in release testing, what will happen now? What we supposed to check? What the developer they supposed to check? Whether the validating is done properly for the software or not. Whether the software is receiving the inputs properly or not. According to the user's requirement, whether the software is accepting the uh, inputs or not. So all those will get checked in release testing. The primary goal of this release testing process is to convenience the supplier of the system that it is good enough for use. So in this case, they have to make satisfied to the customer, and they have to convince the customer to make the software in that good that automatically it will be good enough for use. It means it will be usable. It will be usable by the customers. If so, it can be released as a product or delivered to the customer. If it is okay in every point of view, then it can be released as a product. Released as a product in the sense they have to deploy it. They have to deploy it. Deploy in the sense they have to reintroduce, or they have to introduce with the main software. For whom? For the customer's sake. So release testing therefore has to show that the system delivers its specified functionality, performance, and dependability. So all these 3 points they need to check in case of release testing. That is, the functionality of the software is okay or not, the performance is okay or not, and the dependability in the sense, because new release is getting included in the existing one, whether they are they are matching to each other or not, they are depending on each other or not, they are working properly or not by coordinating each other. So that is what will be checked as dependability. Fine. And that is that it does not fail during normal use. But also they need to check what? Now the software during use, during practical implementation, it is not getting fail, it is not getting not giving problem of any kind. Fine. Last paragraph, let's check. Release testing is usually a black box testing process whereby tests are derived from system specification. Okay, the system is treated as black box whose behavior can only be determined by studying its input and related output. So how can we study the behavior of the software? Now we will check how the input it is taking, how the output it is providing. By checking all this, we can know that whether the software is working properly or not, or working according to the customer or not, customer's requirement or not. Another name for this functional testing is what? Now it is known as functionality testing, so called because the tester is only concerned with functionality and not implementation of the software. So in this case, the tester will check, the person who is, or the group of person who is going to check the functionality of the program, functionality of the software. Okay, so in this case, we are saying that the tester is only concerned with the functionality, not implementation of the software. Means the person who is taking care about the testing part, he need not to, or she need not to, or those group of people need not to take care about the implementation of the software. Implementation of the software will be done by different group of people. Actually the software get developed by the persons who. Fine. ଯାହା ଦ୍ୱାରା ସଫ୍ଟୱେୟାରଟା ଡେଭଲପ ହେଇଛି ସେମାନେ ତାକୁ ଇମ୍ପ୍ଲିମେଣ୍ଟେସନର କେୟାର ନେବେ. The tester is getting done by different group of people in this case. Okay, let's go for user testing now. So in user testing, what it does, what kind of testing it is, how the user has to test the software which is getting developed by a developer, so that we are going to check in this part. User or customer testing is a stage in testing process in which user or customer provide input and advice on system testing. In this case, the developer will say or advise the user to input the data into the software and to make a testing, to go for a testing. This may involve formally testing a system that has been commissioned for external supplier. Alternatively, it may be an informal process where user experiment with new software product to see if they like it and to check that it does what they need. See, the software is get developed for the user. The software is get developed for the user. So it means user have said all those requirements they need to the developer. Now it is time of user. Now it is the part of user. They have to check whether it get done accordingly or not. Okay, whether they like it. By checking it, they will decide whether they like it or dislike it. User testing is essential even when comprehensive system and release testing have been carried out. It means before we have already checked, already we have gone with release testing and comprehensive system. Still the user want to check it, or user should check it, because user can put the data according to his mind, according to his idea, according to her idea. So in that case, we should give a chance to user also to test the software. Okay, later on you will get the idea. If you are not getting understanding, just wait. There are some points, but after discussing that you will get clear what the user testing is. Now let's check. Influences from the user's working environment can have a major effect on reliability, performance, usability and robustness of a system. It means it is saying like user should check always. User should work, because user is going to practically use the software later. So that's why the software to be given to a practical user to use it before the software get released. Okay, now let's check. It is practically impossible for a system developer to replicate the system's working environment, as tests in the developer's environment are inevitably artificial. For example, a system that is intended for use in a hospital is used in clinical environment where other things are going on. It means the software which is getting used in a hospital, in that case some other things also is going on. It means the clinical environment it is saying, where the cleaning is going on, staffs are talking, fine, some of the conversation are going with the relatives, it is given also here. So these all affect the use of a system, but developer cannot include them in their testing environment. So many things are going on when in practical field we are using the software. So all the things cannot be included in a software. All the things cannot be included in a software. Fine. So now check, there are three types of different kind of testing that get done by the user. There are three different types of user testing. So what these are? Now alpha testing, beta testing and acceptance testing. Acceptance testing, beta testing and alpha testing. So let's check about alpha testing is what. Where a selected group of software users work closely with the development team to test early release of the software. In this case, what happened in alpha testing, what happened, there are some particular users for a particular developer. They used to take the software after it get developed, and they used to check by inputting data into the software and check whether the software is working properly or not. Fine, that is all about alpha testing. In this case, in alpha testing, in this case the real user, they are not using the software, they are not testing the software, sorry. Okay, so who are using? Now some group of people, some users are there, but they are not actual user. Some users, they are working under or they are related to the development center, so they are getting the software to use it. Fine. In beta testing, what is happened, I think this concept all of you have heard before, beta software and all of you have heard before. So what it does here, now where a release of software is made available to larger group of users to allow them to experiment and to raise problems that they discover with the system developers. In beta testing, what happened, now the software is left to the user. It get published to the user as a beta software. एठी कौन हुए ना बीटा सॉफ्टवेयर रे ना सॉफ्टवेयर टा पब्लिश हो जाए को हिसाब रे ना बीटा सॉफ्टवेयर हिसाब रे ताकि हमर प्रैक्टिकली प्रॉपर यूजर माने एक्चुअल यूजर they should use the software and they should give some remark or feedback regarding that software. Okay, so in this case what happened, don't know who is going to use that software, but you will be sure that some practical perfect user or proper user they are going to use your software, and whatever or however they want to, or they want to use it, they will use it. After that they will put feedback to all of you that how it is working, so that you can get the knowledge. As a developer you can get the knowledge and accordingly you can modify your software. In market you might have seen there are some software in the name of beta software. Suppose Java, then beta Java. It means what? Java that is not properly developed till yet, and it get left to the user. After the user they use Java, they will put feedback to the Java company that what are the drawbacks are there. Okay, so it means actual users are going to use in case of beta testing. Fine, so that is known as beta versions also. Beta versions we used to say. Okay, third one, let's check acceptance testing, where customers test a system to decide whether or not it is ready to be accepted from the system developers and deployed in customer's environment. In this case what happened, now the customer test the system, the software, and decide whether it is ready, in the sense whether the software is properly done, and it has to be accepted by the developers, it has to be deployed or not. Deployed, on the all of you understood now what the concept is. Deployed means the software practically is getting launched for the customers. That is nothing but making of exe file and all, which already I think I have shown you in Visual Basic how to make exe file. Exe in the sense executable file, means application independent file. Application independent means application not dependent. Fine, if the software is developed by Java, so the time of running the software, it won't require Java. I'm repeating. That is what deployment, because once you deployed the software, it means it won't require application. It will be application independent. But until unless the software is not deployed, always it will need the application where it get developed. For example, जदि तुम गोटे सॉफ्टवेयर जाभा रे डेवलप करिछ आउ ताको एपर्यंत डिप्लॉय करिन, तो से पर्यंत से जाभा ही नीड करथुव रन करिया पे, जाभा रे ही रन होतुव. तमे जदि गोटे सिस्टम रु आउ गोटे सिस्टम को ताको ट्रांसफर भी करूछ, आउ नेक्स्ट सिस्टम रे तमे ताको चलाइबु चेष्टा करछ, सेठी भी से जाभा खोजिबो, जाभा नथिले से चालिबोनी. किंतु थरे ताको डिप्लॉय कर देलो, डिप्लॉय कला परे ताको तमे जेकोनसी कंप्यूटर रे भी चलाओ जोथिरे जाभा थिले केते नथिले केते, it will run, it will work there nicely. So hope all of you get clear about what is user testing. Now let's continue with next one, that is after user testing we have software evolution. So now student, in software evolution what we will learn, now how the software day by day the new versions are coming to the market and how it is getting developed during its life cycle. Fine. So let's check. Large software system usually have a long lifetime. That all of you know. A large software, for example, military and or infrastructure system such as air traffic control, they are very large software. So they have the lifetime up to what? 30 years. According to this book, they have given they may have lifetime of 30 years. Means those software will work up to 30 years. Okay, so keeping in mind the developer will develop the software, means they will think advanced 30 years ahead. Fine. So business systems more often or are often more than 10 years old. Okay, enterprise software cost a lot of money, so a company has to use a software system or many years to get a return on its its investment. So when we are developing a software, we have to think what kind of software we are developing, how long it will work, and what the return we are going to get from the software. Okay, you have to think advance. It means you have to think ahead of 10 years, 5 years, 20 years during developing the software, so that in between you need not to go for major changes in that software, so that because then only you can get proper return from that software. If you are developing a software for 5 years and in between you are keep changing the software, keep updating the software, and you are spending money for it, then when you will get back the money from it? Impossible. You won't get back your investment. So that's why it is saying, when we are developing a software, we have to think for future perspectives, as well as we have to think for future usage, like in future what will happen, what are the changes we can make there. So thinking of that only the software to be developed, so that the proper return on that investment you can get it. Fine. Successful software products and apps may have been introduced many years ago, with new versions released every few years. All of you know, day by day we are getting many new versions with the existing software, isn't it? One example is given. The first version of Microsoft Word was 1983. Microsoft Word ର first version 1983 ରେ ବାହାରିଛି ବୋଲି ସେ କହୁଛି. But now at present we are getting Microsoft Word 2016. More than that also we are having in market. So that is what, day by day the versions are getting changed. Year by year the versions are getting, new versions are getting introduced. Okay, so it has been around for more than 30 years regarding Microsoft Word, it is saying. So during their lifetime, operational software system have to change if they are remain useful. They have to, if Microsoft Word has to stand, or Microsoft Word has to stay in the software market, so what it has to do? It has to be useful. It has to be keep changing. It has to be keep upgrading itself. Then only people they can keep using it. Fine. ତମେ ଯଦି କିଛି ସଫ୍ଟୱେयर ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ନ କରିକି ସେମିତି ଥରେ ଡେଭଲପ କରିକି ଛାଡ଼ିଦେବ, ତ people they will feel bored. They will switch to other software, other related software, isn't it? ଲୋକ ତମ ସଫ୍ଟୱେୟାରକୁ ଛାଡ଼ିକି ଅନ୍ୟ ସଫ୍ଟୱେୟାର ୟୁଜ୍ କରିବା ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିଦେବେ. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଆମେ ଯଦି ଡେ ବାଇ ଡେ, ଇୟର ବାଇ ଇୟର, ଆମେ ଯଦି ପର୍ଟିକୁଲାର ଗୋଟେ ଇଣ୍ଟରଭାଲରେ if we keep changing the software releases, software versions, then people they will keep using your software. Part of the software may have to be modified to correct errors that are found in operations, to adapt it for changes to its hardware and software platform, and to improve its performance or other functional characteristics. ଏଠି ତ ମୁଁ କ'ଣ କହୁଛି ନା, not only software updation, there used to be hardware updation also. So your software also should work according to the hardware updation. ଯଦି ହାର୍ଡୱେୟାର ରେ କିଛି ଇମ୍ପ୍ରୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଆସିଲା, तो तुम सॉफ्टवेयर भी से हार्डवेयर को कोप अप करके चलवा दरकार. ओके, सो नॉट ओनली you have to concentrate on software point of view, you have to see also what are the new hardwares are available in market or getting launched in market newly. Accordingly you have to develop your software, you have to improve your software. Fine. So that is what it is given, that to adopt it for changes to its hardware as well as software platform. Software or hardware dita ko platform ko you have to keep concentrate. Fine. Software products and apps have to evolve to cope with platform changes. That is also important. Platform changes, the software should develop that it should work on Android, it should work on iOS, it should work on Mac, it should work on any platform, say Microsoft, any platform. Okay. And new feature introduced by their competitors. So we have to keep checking our competitors are developing what, and we have to develop that also in our software. Fine. If that we won't do, then our competitor will go ahead and we will stay back. आमे पछर रही आमे competitor आगो पड़ेबो. So always we have to check that also. Fine. We are checking what, students? We are checking evolution. Evolution means what? धीरे धीरे केमती आम सॉफ्टवेयर टो आमे डेवलप करबा. Slowly. एमती नुह जे आमे सब किछि आइडिया गोटे दिन रे भर्ती कर दबा आमे सॉफ्टवेयर रे. गोटे दिन रे सब किछि जदी भर्ती कर दलो या किछि पीरियड ऑफ टाइम रे सब किछि भर्ती कर दलो, त आगु तो करियो किछि नथिबो. सो तमे जानिଛ कि नाही, ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେମାନେ ସଫ୍ଟୱେୟାର ଡେଭଲପ କରନ୍ତି ନା କିଛି କିଛି ଜାଣି ଶୁଣିକି ଛାଡ଼ିକି ରଖିଥାନ୍ତି ताकि नेक्स्ट वर्सन रे ताकू सेमाने ऐड करिवे ताकू सेमाने एनहांस करिवे तो पीपल दे विल फील यस दीज आर द न्यू इंप्रूवमेंट्स कम्स तो जानी के सेमाने छाड़ती किछि किछि बुझिहोछि ओके लेट सी द नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ businesses have to change their software to ensure that they continue to get value from it बिजनेस सब बेले कौन करे सॉफ्टवेयर कहीं लॉन्च करे जे ता पाखरु किछि वैल्यू से राइज करियो माने रिटर्न पाइबो so their systems are critical business assets and they have to invest in change to maintain the value to these assets सब बेले से माने इन्वेस्टमेंट करते ताकि इन रिटर्न समथिंग दे सपोज टू गेट बैक फाइन consequently most large companies spend more on maintaining existing system than on new system development बुझिपार गोटे नुआ सॉफ्टवेयर को डेभलप करिवारे जेतिक से माने खर्च करती ताठू अधिका खर्च करती कोउथिरे ताकू मेंटेन करिवारे मेंटेन माने ताकू इवोल्यूशन करिवारे ताकू डेभलप करिवारे इन बिटवीन ओके गोटे हिस्टोरिकल डाटा एटी दे देखो हिस्टोरिकल डाटा सजेस्ट दैट समवेयर 60% to 90% ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर कॉस्ट आर इवोल्यूशन कॉस्ट बुझिपार माने गोटे डेभलपमेंट रे जेति खर्च न होची तार 60 ରୁ 90% भितरे आमर इवोल्यूशन रे खर्च होची माने इन बिटवीन खर्च होची माने ताको अपग्रेड करिवारे खर्च होची ताको मेंटेन करिवारे खर्च होची ओके लेट गो फॉर द नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ that is software evolution is particularly expensive in enterprise system when individual software systems are part of broader system of system को केस रे हमर एक्सपेंसिव होची ना जते व्हेन यू आर वर्किंग ऑन ए पर्टिकुलर पार्ट ऑफ ए broader system means very huge software and you are working for a particular part of it so in such cases we cannot just consider the changes to one system we have to think about everything जदि तमे गोटे पार्ट ऊपर काम करछो किंतु तुमको पूरा पार्ट विषय रे भाबिया पड़ियो पूरा सॉफ्टवेयर विषय रे भाबिया पड़ियो व्हाई ना दैट द पार्ट वेयर यू आर वर्किंग इट हैज टू मैच the changes has to match with the existing whole system okay so in such cases we cannot just consider change to one system we also need to examine how these changes affect the broader system of systems it means you are working for a small system you are working for a small part of a system but again you need to take care whether the changes whatever you are doing in the small part of a system it is getting cope up with the existing whole system with or not changing one system may mean that other system in its environment may also have to evolve to cope with changes just now I told na you need to check also whether it is getting cope up with other systems or not other whole system or not therefore as well as understanding and analyzing the impact of a proposed change on system itself we also have to assess how these changes may affect other systems in operational environment so आमे केवल जोटा को डेवलप करछन ता विषय चिंता न करिकि सी कहा सहित अटैच अछि we have to think of that also okay let's go to the next page now the next page is saying students the requirement of installed software system change as a business and its environment changes the requirement of installed software system change as the business and its environment change so new releases of the systems that incorporate changes and update are usually created in a regular interval it means not only you have to change the software but also you have to change the environment of it environment in the sense where you are going to set the software where you are going to relaunch the software we have to change the environment as well we have to change the hardware environment software environment everything fine so software engineers just example let me give an example for this suppose windows 2016 word microsoft word 2016 will it work with windows 98 will it work with windows xp no so it means when a new app is coming to market it will have a demand of particular ram particular os particular virtual memory lot of fine so not only the software only comes to the market it comes with some upgradation with some updation needed okay that is the basic need of a software okay software engineering is therefore a spiral process of requirements what it does in spiral process design implementation and testing all these three things used to go on fine so it is given here specification, implementation, validation, operation. So there are three releases given here. It is a spiral diagram type. It is a spiral kind of. So we start creating release 1. It would a बढ़िया example देइछि, all of you please notice. So what the example is, now you start by creating release 1. Release 1 means गोटे software रो तमे वर्तमान तैयारी कलो आ तार release टा हला version 1, तमाने version 1 means first version तमे release कलो, okay, of the system. Once delivered, changes are proposed and development of release 2 start almost immediately. तामाने तमे version 1 को develop कलो करिकि ताको release कलो माने मार्केट रे ताको छाडी देलो, छाडू छाडू मार्केट रे तमे ताको लॉन्च करू करू तमर याडे डेवलपमेंट ऑफ वर्जन 2 विल सपोज टू स्टार्ट, तमन तमे ता पूर्व ताको छाडला परे परे तमर वर्जन 2 तार स्टार्ट हि जिवा दरकार डेवलपमेंट. फाइन. इन फैक्ट बहुत गुडे केस रे द नीड फॉर इवोल्यूशन मे बिकम ऑब्वियस इवन बिफोर द सिस्टम इज डिप्लॉयड. बहुत गुडे केस रे एमती भी हुए वर्जन 1 रिलीज हेई नथिबो, खाली ता काम सरीथिबो, ता पूर्वरु भी से वर्जन 2 रो काम स्टार्ट कर सारिबेनी, रिलीज हेई नथिबो मींस डिप्लॉय हेई नथिबो, बुझि परछो. सो लेटर रिलीज ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर मे स्टार्ट डेवलपमेंट बिफोर द करंट वर्जन हैज बीन रिलीज्ड. मु तुमको कहली ना हैज इवन बीन रिलीज्ड, इट मींस फर्स्ट वर्जन एपर्यंत रिलीज हेईनी, एपर्यंत लॉन्च हेईनी, किंतु सेकंड वर्जन रो काम से माने स्टार्ट कर सारले. सो दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस इन सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट. तमे मु तुमको कहली ना किछिटा से माने छाडंतेनी, किछिटा से माने निजो आखरे रखंती ताकि दैट दे कैन इंप्लीमेंट इन सेकंड वर्जन, दैट दे कैन इंक्लूड इन सेकंड वर्जन. अंडरस्टूड. सो फर्स्ट वर्जन लॉन्च हबा पूर्वरु कंप्लीट हे जाइछि डेवलपमेंट, किंतु लॉन्च हबा पूर्वरु सेकंड वर्जन रो काम करबा से माने स्टार्ट कर दियंती. सो दैट इज ऑल अबाउट द सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट स्टूडेंट्स. आउ तुमको स्पाइरल येटा भी तुमको बुझेली जे तार कोन कोन इंप्लीमेंट रहउची, तार स्पेसिफिकेशन, इंप्लीमेंटेशन, वैलिडेशन, देन ऑपरेशन. अगेन स्पेसिफिकेशन, so this will go round like spiral way. Now let's check the next. The model of software evolution is applicable when same company is responsible for the software throughout its lifetime. जदि जो कंपनी ताको डेवलप करची सेही कंपनी ही तारो सब किछि दायित्व नउची, माने तार मेंटेनेंस, तार इवोल्यूशन, एवरीथिंग ही इज टेकिंग केयर, द सब कंपनी इज टेकिंग केयर. So in that case, there is a seamless transitions from development to evolution. That development to evolution gote company kala, okay, and same software development methods and process are applied throughout the lifetime of the software. ता माने गोटे कंपनी जेहेतु सब किछि दायित्व नैछि तो तार थ्रू आउट द लाइफ टाइम माने पूरा लाइफ टाइम जाक से पर्टिकुलर सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करिकि तार काम से करि परिबो. सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोडक्ट एंड एप्स आर डेवलप्ड यूजिंग दिस अप्रोच, ओके. किंतु the evolution of custom software however usually follow a different model. The system customer may pay a software company to develop the software and then taken off over responsibility for support and evolution using its own staff. Alternatively, the software customer might issue a separate contract to different software company for system support and evolution. As I told, एमती भी कंपनी अछंती, they used to develop the software and they used to leave the entire software on different company. The different company they used to give the support as well as evolution. Fine. Suppose गोटे सॉफ्टवेयर XYZ कंपनी सॉफ्टवेयर ता डेवलप कला किंतु तांको पाखरे मेंटेनेंस आ सपोर्ट पाई या इवोल्यूशन पाई तांको पाखरे टाइम नहीं. What they will do, they will leave it for other, they will leave it on ABC company. So ABC company will give the support to that software and evolution also they will do. So in this situation they are likely to be discontinued in evolution process. जो फर्स्ट कंपनी जे डेवलप कला से माने obviously they will discontinue in the evolution process. Requirements and design document may not be passed from one company to another, okay. Companies may merge or recognize, inherit software from other companies and then find that this has to be changed when the transition from development to evolution is not seamless. The process of changing the software after delivery is called software maintenance. It means in this case the software maintenance is getting done by another group of people. The people, those who develop the software, they are not doing the maintenance, they are not providing the maintenance, and the maintenance is getting provided by the other group of people, okay. So Here one example is given, all of you please see. When software is first used successfully, many changes to the requirement by stakeholders are proposed and implemented. ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ ସଫ୍ଟୱେୟାର ଆମେ ଡେଭଲପ୍ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ସେତେବେଳେ ବହୁତ ଗୁଡ଼େ ଚେଞ୍ଜେସ୍ ତା ଦେହରେ ଆସେ ସେ ସଫ୍ଟୱେୟାରରେ କାହିଁକି ନା ଷ୍ଟେକ୍ ହୋଲ୍ଡର ମାନେ ଦ ପିପୁଲ ଦୋଜ୍ ହୁ ଗେଭ୍ ୟୁ ଟୁ ଡେଭଲପ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ସଫ୍ଟୱେୟାର ଦ ପିପୁଲ ଦୋଜ୍ ହୁ gave you the those have done the investment for that software, they are the stakeholders. तो ये कैसे गोटे डायग्राम देछि देखो, द सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट रु स्टार्ट हला, इवोल्यूशन हला, सॉफ्टवेयर सर्विसिंग हला, तापर सॉफ्टवेयर रिटायरमेंट आसी गला. रिटायरमेंट मीन सॉफ्टवेयर here software is getting died, means software is not getting used by anyone anymore. Okay, तो एटा उसे कहूछि दिस इज द इवोल्यूशन फेज. एटा होछि इवोल्यूशन फेज ता देछि माने एमती भी दिन आसीबो जो दिन कि द सॉफ्टवेयर वोंट गेट यूज्ड बाय एनीवन. Okay, so however as the software is modified, its structure tends to degrade it, and system changes become more and more expensive. धीरे धीरे कौन हुए ना सॉफ्टवेयर रे जतबेले हमें मॉडिफाई करके सॉफ्टवेयर को डे बाय डे डेवलप करी चलू, so it get more expensive. Okay, this often happens after a few years of use when other environmental changes such as hardware or operating systems are also required. At some stage in life cycle, the software reaches the transition point where significant changes and the implementation of new requirements become less and less cost effective. At this stage, the software moves from evolution to servicing. से केस रे से कोन हुए ना इवोल्यूशन स्टेज रु सर्विसिंग स्टेज को चली जाए. को केस रे जते बेले सॉफ्टवेयर तमे जते डेवलप करूछो ता हिसाब रे हार्डवेयर भी डेवलप होउची. तमे सॉफ्टवेयर को आनिबा पई या सॉफ्टवेयर को यूज करिया पई तमे हार्डवेयर भी अपग्रेड करूछो, लाइक रैम को या तमरो वीडियो डिटेल्स को या किछि भी एनी इक्विपमेंट एनी हार्डवेयर इक्विपमेंट आल्सो यू आर कीप चेंजिंग. सो से जगह रे कोन होउची ना कॉस्ट तमरो बढ़ी बढ़ी के जाउची. हाँ, तो से केस रे कोन होउची ना सॉफ्टवेयर तार इवोल्यूशन रु सर्विसिंग स्टेज को चली जाउची. ओके, ड्यूरिंग सर्विसिंग फेज द सॉफ्टवेयर इज स्टिल यूजफुल. Okay, but only small tactical changes are made to it. During these stages, the company is usually considering how the software can be replaced. से कासरे से कंपनी कौन चिंता करिवो ना how we can replace that software. So in final stage, the software may still be used, but only essential changes are made. तो से कैसे कौन होची ना खाली केवल एसेंशियल जोटा अतिरिक्त दरकार ताकू ही से माने सॉफ्टवेयर रे change करिवे, not all kind of changes they can do. So से केस रे user have to work around the problems that they discover. Eventually the software is retired and taken out of use. तो एक केस रे कौन हबो धीरे धीरे software will go from the market, will wipe out from the market. This often incurs further cost as data is transferred from old system to new replacement system. से केस रे कौन हबो आमे हमर पुराना सिस्टम रे जहां डाटा अछि ताको हमें न्यू सिस्टम को ट्रांसफर कर दवा या न्यू सॉफ्टवेयर को ट्रांसफर कर दवा, बिकॉज द ओल्ड सॉफ्टवेयर इज गोइंग टू गेट